Lagos, welcome to your tech show on Lagoon Radio. My name is Odo Emmanuel, your host, and today we're going to be bringing you. First, before I even introduce my guest, we are really sorry for coming in late, and of course, we had a little glitch, and thank God that we're back on. And so, you can join us on all our social media platforms. Our handle is on Facebook is Lagoon Radio Nigeria, and on Twitter and Instagram is Lagoonradio.Ng. Without wasting much time, let me introduce my guest. I have with me Okay, let me allow him introduce himself.
Oh,
okay.
You want to introduce me? It's Inyoluwa.
Inyoluwa, yes, sorry.
Inyoluwa.
Yeah.
Aboyechi. Yes.
Good. Yeah. It's not easy for us to, come live today, but thank God at least everything worked out according to plan. So, without wasting much time, because we don't even have time to start saying.
I have to. I'm the one that I should be apologizing, right, for getting here late. I just forgot. Honest to God, I wish I had a better excuse.
It's all right. So, without wasting much time, please, Ian, can you just give us like a brief intro about you and just tell us about what you about yourself and what you do,
No, very
so that
simple.
at least our listeners.
Yeah, sure.
Like.
My name is Inyoluwa Aboyechi. Everyone calls me the letter E.
Good.
I am, most people know me for co-founding Andela, which is one of the premier software engineering companies on the continent, so a $1 billion company.
Sure.
Also co-founded another company called Flutterwave, which is a payments company that I'm sure everybody who watches Big Brother has heard about.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Sadly. So yeah, those are the two things. But right now, actually, I'm the general partner of the Fund for Africa's Future.
Okay.
And we basically invest in startups super early. We like founders who are solving hard problems in large markets.
Well.
And our hope is that by supporting these founders with capital, with coaching, and with a community of supporters, we can help them turn our continent's biggest challenges to business opportunities.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. And in fact, that's awesome. A quick one. Despite the challenges in Africa, let me say Nigeria, because of course our problems are quite peculiar. You understand the terrain. It's like days back from CCO, and I don't need to start talking about that.
Back.
Yeah, sure. But how were you able to break through? What was the secret recipe that you were able to achieve 2 unicorns, being able to go through Andela and Flutterwave, being able to float those 2 companies despite the challenges of our own ecosystem?
Oh, I mean, I think first of all it was God.
Okay.
It wasn't human effort. Obviously, I don't think it's something that would have happened without some extraordinary divine intervention.
Okay.
But I think beyond that, it was possible because the real secret sauce is that if you dedicate your life and sacrifice your comforts to serve people, right? You'll be surprised at what you can get out of the experience. And for me, when I did entrepreneurship before Andela. And it didn't work.
Sure.
And I think we knew each other at CC Health back when.
Yeah, sure.
I was working on other things, and it wasn't until I got to Andela where I was able to really focus on serving other people, helping other people reach their true potential.
Okay.
By being able to learn technology skills and then get a job globally by doing so, and that work was providing employment to people. It was really, really adding value to people. So I think that's the real secret sauce. The real secret sauce is if you are very obsessed with adding value to other people's lives, ultimately you're going to be able to capture some of that value you're creating.
Wow.
And that's really the secret. Same thing with Flutterwave, right? Flutterwave, we're very focused on helping businesses to be able to scale globally without be able to sell stuff wherever they're not, as opposed to wait for their customers to show up at their doorstep, and that changed the world in many ways, right? Allowed many people to be able to sell products all over the world without stepping a foot outside their doorstep, and that was a big deal. And for us, it was also $1 billion company today because of that.
Well, that is very exhausting. But so, of course, you've evolved and you've moved on, and of course, I know that there are so many things on the pipeline, and so I, of course, I've done my own due diligence, and I understand that you've pushed Fund for Africa, right?
Yes, Fund for Africa's Future.
Yeah. So can you just give us like an insight of what it's all about? And
Yeah, so I mean, after Andela and Flutterwave, the question on my mind was, how do I help the next 100 unicorns?
wow. Yeah, okay. I skipped that part. That was the most important thing I was supposed to ask you.
Yeah.
Are you able to achieve that unicorn status, Because
no, I mean, but what I was trying to do basically was, how do you fund the next 100 unicorns? And basically, it starts with, many of the founders who are working on things that would actually end up becoming very, very big.
Okay.
They don't get the right kind of support early on because a lot of people don't really understand what they're trying to do.
Okay.
So, I had to basically we built Future Africa to be a home for those type of founders. And so what we do at the fund is we help founders that are very, very early.
Okay.
Talking about like one co-founder and
Are
an
you
idea.
serious?
No pitch deck.
Wow.
But
Wow.
But oftentimes we need to see that the founder's done some work.
Okay.
He's built a prototype. He's talked to some customers.
Okay.
We like to see the more traction, the better your chances. But what we do is we just kind of find those founders, especially if they're solving very big problems.
Okay.
And then we try to engage them, show them how they should build.
Okay.
Surround them with resources, and then we write a check as small as $25,000, as much as.
Hello, Africa. Are you listening? So start preparing those concepts, your ideation stage. Start thinking. Start prototyping. Let me allow you to continue. All right.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what we do at the fund. So,
Okay.
We haven't. Oh, I don't know if we'll still have it, but at least for now, we have an open application process.
Okay.
So you can go on our website www.future.africa.
Oh.
You can check out and you tell us, just fill our application form. Tell us, what you're building, and if we like it, we'll reach out.
Okay, that brings me to this question. Sorry that we'll have to jump so many things.
Problems.
So, what's the future for Africa? What's the future for Nigeria like? How do you see Nigeria in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on what we do today, right? Like, so there's no future that's like, set in stone except by the virtue of the people who actually determine to build it. I think for me, the future I want for Nigeria and for Africa is one where, prosperity and purpose is within everyone's reach. So, if you're a young person, you don't have to know anybody to, be able to build a great company or, build to be what you want to be.
Yeah.
You can just be who you are, and you can acquire some skills, and on the strength of the things that you do and the quality of your work, you can find favor as opposed to on the basis of who your father is or your last name.
That's very deep. Okay, so let me just retrogress a little bit.
Yeah.
So as maybe like a startup, or like if I have an idea, maybe based on my ideation stage, thinking of trying to pitch an idea, which I'm just trying to conceptualize. I've not actually maybe built an app or something. So but I just know that based on my intuition, based on what I've seen and maybe the little research that I've done, I foresee that, okay, this concept of mine will be able to skyrocket to become maybe an application that might be like a de facto app. So, what would be your advice for startups or people who are just still thinking, who have never gone into that stage of maybe creating a prototype?
I'd say, first of all, try and find some customers for what you're building. I think I meet a lot of founders who've never really talked to any shows, the customers.
Okay.
A big part of my job is just talking to people. Just I just show up, and just talk to people in the market or whatever. And you know, it's really funny what people think matters to people as opposed to what, you know. So I'll give you an example with the market, right? Like,
Okay.
we're not far from Lagos. I mean, like Idumota. We're not far, right?
Yeah.
You know, and you'll be shocked that, you know, people don't know how to navigate Idumota. Like, I don't.
Seriously.
It's like
That's
a real
true.
problem, you
Yeah.
know. So some people, it's like second nature. I know where to go. I know where to buy meat. I know where to buy fish, you know. But for some people, they don't even know where to go. And the problem is, for a lot of those people, you know, the lady who sells maybe dried fish or whatever, you know, she doesn't have, I mean, she doesn't care enough to look for customers outside of who comes to her shop. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
She's like struggling. She barely meet the demand of people who come to her shops. It's like she's not going to go looking for more trouble. So, but the problem is, you know, there are a lot of people who want to be able to buy from her or her colleagues.
Yeah.
They don't know where to find her.
Sure.
Maybe they don't know how to run into the market. They don't
Okay.
know where to go, who to talk to. They can't speak Yoruba, so they're always going to get the bad prices.
True.
So I
So
say,
true.
So imagine if you go to that person, the lady, and you give her an app. She doesn't. App doesn't solve any of her problems. Like,
That's serious.
why are you wasting my time? You know? Are you going to buy fish or not?
When we can do
So,
the transaction,
yeah, we can just do
physically,
transaction
just pay
physically.
me,
So,
pick up what you want to do.
but there might be a young kid who doesn't have you know, a job, knows Dumota market extremely well,
Sure.
and can go in there and come out. You know, maybe that person can go and talk to the woman because she speaks Yoruba, and get the fish, and come to you in your house and deliver the fish, all looking nice and clean. That's a real business, right?
Sure.
But you know, obviously, as it scales, you have to think about how you run the errands and how you do all that stuff.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's a real business. But that business doesn't look like an app in the hands of the market woman selling her fish.
True talk.
So you got to think carefully about who are you selling to, what do they care about? Is it the app? Is it the phone? You know, what is it?
Okay. That's very, very inciting. And okay, let me just ask you this. Like, for those who just want to start, you know, based on your experience and your expertise, you've been able to define the market. You've been able to build two solid, would I say, companies. At least they evolved from startup to become unicorns. So, what would be your advice for like people who just want to start, who want to start to profile their market?
Yeah.
Like, for instance, being able to identify, you know, specific segments. Maybe it's a niche market, maybe it's a mass market.
Yeah.
So, because I don't understand, everything is all about problem solving.
Oh, that's what it is.
Just being able to identify a particular solution, being able to identify a problem,
Yes.
then maybe just use technology, wrap technology around it, and you know, try to solve, be the middleman, try to
or sometimes technology is the solution.
exactly, yeah. Either ways, whether technology or you being like trying to solve, be the middleman, trying to solve that gap, bridge that gap between the consumer and the producer, whoever might be rendering the service or the product. So what would be your advice on, for future guys who want to like venture into entrepreneurship? Because it's not everybody that, a lot of them might have an idea, but they don't understand how to go about the whole scenario of creating a startup and growing to become a full company.
Well, I think first of all, make friends with founders, like make friends with people who are already doing it well, because then they can kind of show you. A lot about entrepreneurship is not exactly intuitive.
Yeah.
A lot of it is like learned. So if it's possible for you to like actually, work in a startup before you start your own, I think it's always a good idea.
That's true.
But I think ultimately, right, the way you have to be thinking about starting is you got to find a customer, find one customer, just one person who you can help make more money. If that's what you want to do, if it's a business, just help them make more money. If it's a consumer, you need to find out what they want and help them get more of it. And that's really where the relationship begins. And then from that one person, you can find other people that look like that one person, and you go like that.
Wow.
Before you know it, you're a huge company.
Hmm. So, wow, that's great. So, okay. So, what would be your advice for people who want to just venture into the entire space, like maybe want to become a technology startup, and what would be your advice for Africa as a whole?
I mean, just solve real problems. There's so many people solving problems nobody has. You know?
When you say problems, we need to categorize them so that at least it will be very clear and glaring. Like you say, solve problems. A lot of people want to solve problems, but they don't really know how to start.
You know, I didn't say solve problems. I said solve real problems.
So okay,
Big difference.
what are
Like,
the
okay,
real
so my
problems?
rule of thumb is, look,
Okay.
if somebody doesn't go to bed thinking about a problem, it's not a big problem.
Okay, like
If you're trying to solve a problem and no one's going to bed thinking about the problem, it's like there's no point.
Okay, good. Someone's writing like, okay, watching from the US. Okay, a lot of Nigerian youths are talented. They need empowerment. So so what? So of course that's involves you. How do you come into that space?
I mean, you know, what we do is empower them with capital, right?
Okay.
So you know, it's not easy to find someone who's gonna back your company with 10 million. I think that's what it is
Very
now, right?
true. Yeah.
And also make sure that you know they're not taking 100% of your company. You know, I think maximum we'll take is 20.
Okay.
So I mean, that's what we do. That's how we empower. We're not going to empower everybody, but we're going to empower a bunch of young people, a lot of young people. We've done 66 deals now. 66.
Wow.
Not
66.
Six. Yes, 66.
Wow.
So
Lagos, are you listening?
so,
Nigeria, are you listening?
so we've done 66 deals. I mean, we're not going to empower everyone, but we're going to empower quite a number, and then the effect's going to cascade and cascade and cascade. And
Yeah.
you know, our company's employed 13,000 people.
Wow.
Right, so it's quite a number of mouths to feed. You know, people are learning, people are earning. You know,
So okay. The parting word, because we're about rounding up, and so what do you think?
Yes.
What are you going to be telling those who are listening to you, those who want to like venture into that space?
look, I'll say again and again, you know, the word is really to serve.
Okay.
When you think about startups and building something, I think the mistake a lot of people make is that they think about it as a way to get rich. And it happens, you know, sometimes.
Sure, like you.
can get
Yeah,
less.
you did it. You
I
did
don't
it.
know,
And
I
it
don't
worked. And it worked.
I don't know. I think I have a lot of paper money.
It worked for you.
I have a lot of paper money. I don't think it's real yet. But
Okay.
but I'm just saying that, you know, people have to think about it as a way to get rich. And it is, you know, it can be.
Of course.
But beyond that, you know, it's really about the number of lives you change. So
yeah.
number of lives, you know, took people at Andela from $100 in income a month to $100,000 a year, you know, and take businesses that were, you know, only able to make $1,000 a month in revenue to, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in income. So that's impact. So you have to, you know, that's what you focus on. How are you going to change the life of your customer with this product? Not how you're going to get rich. That's the parting word.
Okay. Final question I want to ask you before you go. So how did you come about Andela? Because I know
You were in CC Hub.
I know.
You know how it happened.
But I'm asking you because a lot of people are listening and they
Okay.
don't know. They don't know the story behind it. So they just hear
so-
about Andela.
Well, what actually happened, I was running on that company called Fora, and at the time, my goal was, you know, I'd seen a lot of young people who wanted to get promotions at work,
Okay.
and they were looking for master's programs.
Okay.
Like online master's programs. They couldn't obviously travel for masters. So, what we used to do then would help them get into the schools, and if they didn't have money, would help arrange loans that hopefully they would pay off if they got promoted. So that was what I was doing, and then one day, I was going home. I was living in Surulere at that time. So I was going home and I noticed a big crowd and there was a lot of traffic. And I came down from the bus I was in so I could walk through the traffic. And, you know, I just asked someone, you know, around, why is there so much traffic? What's going on? And they said, you know, 65,000 people came to take an immigration exam here. Some people died in the stampede.
Serious problem.
Yeah.
So
When that happened, I just kind of felt it in the back of my mind, you know, it's like one of those sad things, like people died when they came to look for jobs. And then a few months later, I was meeting with an older friend of mine who became my co-founder.
Okay.
And he was telling me about how he was really struggling to hire a Salesforce administrator, even though he was willing to pay 6 figures in dollars.
Are you serious?
So I was like, well, I'm looking for money, so can I do this job?
Wow.
And that also, I found that in the back of my head. So a few months later, we kind of came upon this idea. My co-founder and I, what can we do? What can we do to essentially help young people to gain skills? Because we realized there was a dichotomy.
Okay.
The economy wasn't growing, but there were jobs in the US and in other parts of the world that you could do via the internet.
Okay.
So we basically just started to focus on that. And yeah, so before we knew it, we started training. We trained 4.
Okay.
4 became 21. 21 became
And the rest
100.
became history.
Before we knew, as a whole new country.
Okay, last question.
Yes.
So I have a question here. Say, what kind of business owners can apply for the loans?
Well, we don't give loans. We're equity.
Okay.
Not loans.
So
We
clarity.
only focus on tech. We only focus on tech. So you have to be building something in tech. And specifically, not just any kind of tech. Like, we already fund an app.
Okay.
We like to fund, founders that are solving very hard problems in large markets. So I'll give you an example. I mean, like yesterday night, I spent the day with an entrepreneur we backed super early, who basically his focus is he builds a machine,
Okay.
which he uses to crack palm nuts. So
Okay.
Lots of all palm trees in South. Not the machines to crack palm nuts are like $160,000. So he invented one, and he made one that for about $31,000. He doesn't sell it. What he does is he gets financing from third parties.
Okay.
He buys the nuts.
Mm-hmm.
He cracks it, and then he sells it to the people who make soap.
Oh, okay.
And people who make Vaseline and all that kind of stuff. Vegetable oil, all this stuff.
Okay. We're out of time.
Yeah, out of time.
So I want to thank everybody who has listened to us. I want to say a very big thank you, even to him who was able to make it today, despite his busy schedule.
Next time I'll make it up. I'll give you 3 hours.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's a promise, and
That's
you have to
a
keep
promise.
to
I'll
it.
keep to it.
Okay, so thank you for everybody for
Make it
listening, and maybe you have to say something to everybody listening to you.
Well, thank you
Parting
very much
words.
for listening, and
Okay.
I'm super excited to be here on Lagoon Radio. Sounds like fun.
Good. So thank you, everybody. Till we meet again next week. Not same time, of course, 1 p.m. I want to say goodbye to everybody, to my producer, Shay, and everybody, the crew, Reverend, everybody who has been, part to the success. I want to say a very big thank you to everybody. On this note, I want to say thank you, and I'm signing out. Remain blessed. Till we meet again next week. Thank you.
You are listening to Lagoon Radio.